All right, let's talk about a piece of technology that's quietly changing the game for AI. It's something called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP for short, and it's basically the bridge between AI's brain and the real world.
I mean, it's no secret, right? Today's AI models, they're incredible. They can reason through some really tricky problems. They can write stuff that's genuinely creative. And they can even map out complex plans. The intelligence is definitely there. But here's the catch. For all that incredible brain power, there's a huge problem. It's stuck. It's isolated inside a computer, totally cut off from the world we actually want it to interact with. So it can think, but it can't really do anything.
This quote just nails it. Imagine the smartest person in the world locked in an empty room. No tools, no internet, no way to communicate their ideas. That's what AI is like, without a connection to the outside world. And that's exactly the problem MCP is built to solve.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll dig into that brain in a room problem. Then we'll look at the big idea that serves as the bridge. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of how that bridge actually works, see how it stacks up against older tech, and then wrap up by looking at what this all means for the future of AI. So, let's start at the beginning, fully understanding the core problem that even made something like MCP necessary.
Okay, so what is MCP, really? Think of it as a universal language, or maybe a set of rules for communication. It's not the AI itself, it's the system that lets the AI talk to everything else. And you see those keywords there? Structured, safe, and predictable? That's the whole point. It lets that brain finally and safely reach outside the room.
And this is a super important point to get right. MCP is the nervous system, not the brain. The AI model has the thoughts, the ideas. MCP is just the reliable, standardized pathway that turns those thoughts into actions.
All right, so let's move on and look at the philosophy behind this whole thing. How does it work conceptually?
This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? See, if you program every single possible action into the AI, it becomes super rigid and can't learn anything new. But if you just let it run wild, well, that's not safe at all. So where's the middle ground?
And the answer is actually pretty simple and elegant. You just separate the jobs. You let the AI model do what it's amazing at, thinking, reasoning, making decisions, and you let the tools do what they're designed for, executing very specific tasks. MCP is the secure go-between that connects the two.
So now for the fun part. Let's pull back the curtain and see how this bridge is actually built. What are the moving parts?
It really boils down to three key players in this little drama. You've got the AI model. That's our thinker. Then you have the MCP server, which is the actor. It holds all the tools and actually does stuff. And right in the middle, you have the most important part, the MCP client, which is the coordinator that manages the whole conversation.
So here's how a typical interaction goes down. First, the server basically holds up a menu of its tools, saying, hey, here's everything I can do. The client, our coordinator, shows that menu to the AI model. The AI then thinks, picks a tool, and sends a very specific request. The client checks that request to make sure it's safe, then tells the server to execute it. Finally, the result gets sent back to the AI, and the whole loop can start over again.
Now you might be wondering, wait a second, don't we already have things like APIs for this? It's a great question, and it gets to why MCP is so different. Yes, so the big difference is who it's designed for. Traditional APIs are built for human developers. They're rigid, they're scripted, you call a specific function and get a specific result. MCLP is totally different. It's designed for an AI to use. The AI doesn't need a script. It can dynamically discover what tools are available and figure out how to use them on its own to solve a problem. It's adaptive, not fixed.
So why does any of this matter to you? Well, you've probably already seen this kind of thing in action. This is the magic that turns a simple chatbot into a real assistant. When you ask an AI to read a document you just uploaded, or write some code, or pull info from a database, yep, that's an MCP-like system making it happen. And it's not just for your phone's assistant. In the business world, this is a total game changer. We're talking about smart dashboards that can answer complex questions in plain English, reports that automatically gather their own data, and customer support bots that can actually solve real problems instead of just following a script.
And that brings us to our final section. Let's zoom out and talk about the big picture and why this protocol is so critical for what's coming next.
This right here, this is the single most important shift happening in AI today. We're moving away from AI as just a fancy encyclopedia that answers questions to AI as an active agent that can do things for us. It's a massive leap.
But if we're going to let AI take actions in the world,
We have to be able to trust it. And that trust can't just be based on hope. It has to be built into the technology itself. That's what MCP brings to the table. It creates a system that's transparent, predictable, secure, and can scale up without falling apart.
And really, this quote says it all. For years, we've had this amazing intelligence on one side and the real world on the other. MCP is that missing link, the piece of the puzzle we needed to connect them safely and reliably.
So this leaves us with a really exciting question. The brain is finally out of the room. It has hands now, it has tools. The only limit is what we can dream up. So, what should we build first?